everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And this week's guest is Caitlin Fournier. She is the Director of Fan Engagement and Community Relations at OU. And if you want an inside scoop on the Crimson Combine that's coming up for football pregame festivities, softball light shows, women's gymnastics in and out, this episode is for you. Caitlin has experience working in the sports industry, and it includes the NCAA, minor league baseball, college football playoffs, NBA, and the NFL. She is a huge advocate for women in sports and enjoys getting to use her role and platform to amplify women's sports and grow the next generation of female leaders. Her dad went to OU, so she is Sooner born and Sooner bred, and her favorite Sooner memory is the first time hearing the band play Boomer Sooner in person at a football game, and also when our Sooner softball team won the Women's College World Series four-peat in 2024. So I hope you all enjoy this fantastic interview with Caitlin Fournier. Thank you so much for taking the time to join my show. I think I told you this. I've heard your name. I listen to Plank on the radio, and he always mentions you. And I thought, this is a great person to talk to because, I love OU sports, and I just want a space in my little corner of the internet to showcase not only OU sports, but women in OU sports, and just capitalize on that. And then just showcasing anybody that's involved in OU sports. So you were telling me a little bit about how you ended up at OU, and your dad went to school there. Just kind of tell me a little bit more about that journey and how it all came about.
Yeah, so I am originally from Mississippi, I guess, is the easy way to put it. My parents met in the military. My dad went to OU. My mom went to the University of Kentucky. And I ended up going to Mississippi State. So we've kind of spread ourselves out around the SEC a little bit. But had the best of both worlds growing up. Grew up a OU fan, especially during football season, and then would switch into Kentucky mode during basketball season.
Yeah.
State's really good at baseball, so then that kind of worked out. So kind of had everything kind of going our whole
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah, with that. And so I never got to go to any games growing up or anything. I got my pick of the litter when I wanted to go to college. My parents didn't care what I wanted to do. They're just like, go do your thing. So went to Mississippi State for college, and then was actually pre-med for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
That this is where I would end up, but ended up working for a minor league baseball team in my hometown in Pensacola, Florida, and then fell in love with working in sports. Kind of did more of the community relations side of things. Really loved utilizing sports as a platform to give back to the community, and that kind of is where it all started for me. And so went back to college, changed my major to public relations and marketing, and then kind of kept going from there. So started an internship my senior year with the athletics marketing department, and my boss for my internship at the time had done her master's at Oklahoma, so she had some connections there for grad school. So then ended up fortunate enough to come here for grad school for 2 years. I'm working in athletics marketing, doing a GA-ship with them, and then graduated, went to work in the pros for a little bit in the NBA and NFL, and then they had a full-time job open up here, and then I came back, and here's where I've been ever since.
Here you are. Wow, that's quite the journey.
Yeah.
It's funny, I'm in my mid-40s now, and so I graduated from OU in 2003. And my degree is actually in education, and I did teach for a few years and then moved on to another career. But it's funny looking back now. I think if I had it to do over, I would probably do something like what you did, because I love sports. Obviously, I love all sports. And, it's funny because here I am on a video and recording myself, but I've never enjoyed hearing myself talk or seeing myself on a camera. But it's just one of those things that's part of it, and now here we are. But I'm not sure I would enjoy it on a big stage, but I like my little corner of the internet.
Yeah, and it's easier whenever it's stuff that you're passionate about and like
yes.
to do. So, I don't think I could, you go through public speaking classes or have to do presentations in school. And it could be about something that you don't care about or whatever. But when it's something you're passionate about, you talk about it all day. I don't think I really love public speaking that much either, which is weird to say because I grew up in the theater. I was a dance kid. I never played really any bat and ball kind of sports in my whole life. I was a dancer. So with that came learning lines, doing shows, all the things. But you're in a character, so it's a lot easier to kind of insert yourself that way.
Yes.
But there are times where I have to, be the MC at men's gymnastics and get on the microphone and do the thing or sing the anthem or whatever it is. And I just don't think I would have done it before, but
Right.
it's like this is my world and I'm like, I can entertain people, that's fine.
Right?
So it's different whenever you're kind of like put in a situation that you're passionate about. I think it makes it a lot easier.
I definitely agree with that. So I met Chris Plank some years ago. I went up to him and was like, "Hi, I listened to you on the radio." And anyway, long story short, at one point I was visiting him here, and the day before OU Texas, he broadcast live here at a store here in my town. And so I was just going by to say hello to him. And he put me on the radio. And it's 9:00 in the morning. So, it was still, I'm not a morning person really. So I'm like half awake, and then he hands me these headphones. And it's like, here, come on the air with me. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm the last person to throw somewhere unprepared. But I ended up having a good time with it. And then I've since been on with him a couple more times. So it's kind of funny. Like you said, you get thrown into something and then you're like, okay, well, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
I kind of
to me a couple times. I'll wake up one day and he's like, "Hey, do you want to call in and talk about like gymnastics and NASCAR?" And I'm like, "Sure, okay."
That's so funny.
And so every once in a while, I just get to come in and have a little NASCAR segment, which is funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny, like you said, when you're passionate about something, you can just talk all day. And that's really kind of my thing. I've always been the girl that talks to everybody else's husbands or dads or whoever about all the sports because I watch everything and I don't know everything about all of them. Football and softball are my two passions for sure, but I watch all the things. And but yeah, I can sit and talk to anybody that wants to talk OU sports or just college sports in general. So it is funny, like when you're really passionate, you really find that voice that you didn't even know you had. So tell me a little bit, like, what did you do? You said you worked in the NFL, and yeah, tell me a little bit about that. What did you do?
Yeah, so I guess collegiate marketing has like two different facets. I'll kind of start there. So
Okay.
there's like your traditional marketing and advertising that like you picture when you go to school that you're going to learn about, social media advertising and optimization of, search engines and
Yep.
All the things, billboards, radio, TV advertising, what all that looks like, managing a budget, whatever. We do a lot of that. And then we do game production and entertainment on the side. So some people's titles are fan engagement, some say fan experience, game production, marketing, whatever. So when you see a marketing title, part of that is doing the entertainment and the game production and all of that. So when I was graduating grad school, I really loved the entertainment side of things and just putting on a show for the fans.
Yes.
Obviously, I can do the other stuff, but like I just love putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of more of what I gravitated to during grad school. And so I had applied for a job with the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans. They're owned by the same corporation, so everybody kind of works everything, and ended up going down there. It was close to home. It was a team that I grew up loving. Was a huge Saints fan growing up, so it kind of worked out. And if you know anything about the NBA, it's just all halftime shows and all that.
Yes.
So got to go do that, which was really cool. And I was just doing game entertainment, and I didn't have to worry about attendance. I didn't have to worry about getting to the games. We just got to like be creative, come up with fun theme nights, come up with cool half times, come up with fun games to do in between breaks. Been working with, the whole staff to be able to do that. And so it was very, very cool to just kind of get to play with your imagination and be creative with a staff that was like the best in the business at what they do. We were the best game day entertainment in the NFL that year, which was really cool.
That's awesome. How cool.
So it was a really great learning experience. And then when I came back here, so it was like 2 weeks before COVID. And then,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, literally. My first day back at OU was February 24th. And so I came back, and that was kind of what they really wanted me to focus on. They were like, that's where we can grow. Like, we have a fan base, we have things, but we really want to create an atmosphere. Like, we're moving into the SEC, which we didn't know that at the time, but like once that kind of became the conversation, that's where like I got brought into the room quite a bit with different things of like, what do we need to do?
That's awesome.
I love the game entertainment piece. That was kind of what I started gravitating towards. So a lot of the sports that I have, I get to play around with a lot of that stuff, which is nice. But yeah, so for me, like I said, grew up a dancer, getting to put on a show, like that's the best part. There's always
Yeah.
a story that you're trying to tell. Everything kind of goes together. The music has a purpose. The giveaway, the lighting has to be at the right time, at the right place with the video and the song and all the things. So I'm probably a
Yes.
little bit more of a micromanager than I thought I would
Yes.
be. But, it all comes together at the right time.
It does. So I was at the softball game, the South Carolina opener, and the Roughnecks were going around with the little cards, for the red light thing, telling
Yeah.
us to put them over our phone and stuff. So I guess that's kind of part of what you're talking about. That's a big deal. And it's funny because, like, I love the light shows, like football and softball has started doing it, when there's touchdowns or home runs or whatever. Like, I love that, the LED lights and everything. I can't even
Yeah, and
imagine.
had
Like,
to be
that's just cool.
strategic because it was the last Friday night game before daylight savings, so it was the only time that it was going to be dark enough to actually do it.
That's
So
so true.
all very intentional.
I did not even think about that.
The rest of the rest of the season, even if we start at 6:30, like it's not going to be like it'll still be light by 8. So
Yeah, you're right. I did not even think about that. But yeah, that's why that's your job and not mine.
I want to spend money on something I'm not going to be able to use.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. What is a typical day for you? Okay, so you do stuff for football as well, and women's gym and softball. So tell me a typical day for you, like for football. Like what all does that entail?
Like on actual game day or week leading up to.
Let's do both. Let's do both.
Okay. Week leading up to it, it's kind of regimented at this point, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Monday is kind of getting like final answers from everybody about whatever's happening in between innings. There's a lot of sponsorship elements obviously involved that we have to execute
Mm-hmm.
and try and make them as entertaining as we can. So a lot of it's kind of just getting those final answers in place for that. And then Tuesday, kind of sending it out to make sure everyone's good. If there's any kind of like extra stuff happening, like the Parade of Champions usually happens like one game. Military Appreciation is always a big lift with some extra stuff going on. Senior Day is obviously a huge stuff going on with that. Homecoming. We have different walkthroughs during the week with campus and things like that. So kind of take away the one-offs. By Wednesday, we have a big operations meeting with pretty much anyone who touches football in any capacity. That could be parking, that could be Norman PD, OUPD, fire marshal, MSTAT, concession stands, all the people that kind of touch everything. So everyone's in the know about what's going on, where to get something, what we're kind of looking at, if there's weather going to be an issue or anything like that. We go through all that stuff, and then everything should be pretty finalized by Wednesday afternoon. Thursday we'll do the first run through with the video board and just check and make sure spellings are right, correct sponsors are on certain things, and we're not missing anybody. And then Friday morning we'll do the same thing, but we'll kind of run through everything, not just sponsored stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Friday afternoon we'll usually do a walkthrough with just our staff to make sure everybody kind of knows where everything is happening on the field, so there's not really game day. Well, I guess, and then the rest of Friday I usually spend working through music, lights, all the things. We do a lot of light rehearsals on Friday night, if that's the case. So we usually spend a lot of time doing that. And then Saturday we usually all get there about 6 hours before. And then our team handles Party at the Palace as well. So a lot of them are out there setting up and then getting ready for Walk of Champions. So the bus coming through, the team coming through, the shotguns firing at the right point in the song, the camera going up on the new video board that we put out there. All of that stuff is our department.
Wow.
A lot of that's happening. I'm usually doing one last run through inside the stadium at that point, making sure everything's good to go. And then 2 hours later, the doors will open and we'll let the fans in and start going. I don't usually get too crazy until about 24 minutes before. Once the team leaves the field and Crazy Train happens, that's where it all starts going. So we'll start with a bunch of recognitions and things like that. But then the game happens. I don't really have to tell you too much what happens there. But I produce the game, and then we have the director for the video board, and we work hand in hand. We actually run all three of our sports together, which is super nice because you need to have
good.
So kind of know the ins and outs of different things and kind of what our preferences are and the way we communicate with each other, but also what we're looking at entertainment wise. So we work really well together that way. So yeah, I'll produce and kind of be, if we're doing a dance cam and we need a winner, like I'm the one saying like, okay, don't lose that camera shot, like we're going to come back to them. And so he's relaying to the camera people and things like that. And then, yeah, we'll tell them when to go on the video board and when to turn the
Wow.
music down so the referee can talk, or when the band's supposed to play, and all of that kind of thing. So directing the chaos. But that's what everyone in our department does, but for whatever
Yeah.
everybody.
Wow. That's a lot of moving parts that people don't think about. I mean, I just show
Like,
up
you
on
know it's
Saturday.
happening, but like you don't really think about that it's like so intentional and all the planning that
Yes.
goes up to it. You know, some people are like, oh man, like why do we have to run all these, you know, sponsored things and whatever. I'm like, well, the sponsors are the ones who are making this game happen. And
Exactly.
they want it to be at a certain time, and of course we try and make it as entertaining as we can. But yeah, I know we plan things to be when they are for a reason.
Uh-huh.
So that way we can, you know, if there's a way to move things around, that we will do that. But yeah, it's fun. It's not what I thought that I would do with my life, but I grew up going to the baseball field every day for my brother. And it's kind of funny now we talk about it that my dad did the PA and like music from an iPod for my high school baseball team for my brother. So he was
how
the
funny.
first one to get into this industry.
Uh-huh.
But he just did it as like a, you know, a dad.
That's awesome. Like, that's so cool. And like I said, the regular person like me, we don't think about all those moving parts. We just show up and enjoy it. And I can't imagine like the stress when something goes wrong. Like, I mean, you know, there's a million things that could go
The
wrong.
hope is that it doesn't go wrong enough that other people don't realize something went wrong. It may not
Right.
be he expected it to be.
Right.
But the hope is that it never gets to a point where a fan is wondering, like, what's supposed to be happening right now?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would not be good. But, and I've only maybe had probably not even a handful of that kind of thing happen. Does it happen the way I wanted it to necessarily? No. Hopefully not.
That makes sense.
Where it's like, what's happening here?
I remember one time, I feel like it was the home opener for football, but I know it was like the pregame when the team runs out on the field, you know, and you time everything just right. Mm-hmm. So the video shuts off and all the things happen, and here comes.
Was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before I took over. I know.
Oh.
Yeah,
and there
at least 2.5 minutes before the end of the team coming out. Yeah. No,
I mean,
was the one standing in the tunnel being like, and everyone's looking at me like, where are they? I'm like, I don't know. I used to be the one to hold the team back before I, you know, graduated to go upstairs.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I know exactly. I only started taking over football this year, so.
Oh, okay.
Prior to that was not me.
That's hilarious. Well, I certainly didn't mean it in a negative way at all. It's just that is really the only time that anything's ever stuck out to me that I at least remember in the long term. So there's that. But I do remember that because we were like, is Venables like, he's kind of long-winded sometimes.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, I was like, I just imagine he's in there, you know, doing Brent Venables things, and that's kind of what happened. And you can't really control that.
Like that, right? And then you have conversations with your coaches of like, that can't happen. You guys have to be on time. Like,
yes.
Make this timing sheet. You guys agree to it. Like, you got to stick with it. But yeah, you have that happen with all your sports. And 30 seconds here or there is like minutes in our world. Like, I know I had an issue one time with a flyover, and it was like 10 seconds early. And it was just like, 10 seconds is a lot, you know?
It is.
So some of that gets a little bit interesting too. But yeah, I mean, you do the best you can. Some things are out of your control, and there's nothing you can do with it. And you think on your feet, and you know, you don't want to point out your flaws, but we know what happens, and if it doesn't go our way. But the hope is to keep the magic for everybody else.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's funny you mentioned the flyovers. Like, again, I don't really think much about the timing on that either. But yeah, 10 seconds is a big deal when there's a plane coming over at the wrong time and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But I love the flyovers. They're one of my favorite things. I always look forward to them. So my seats are in the southwest corner. So I'm always looking up, you know, waiting for them to come over. So
it's interesting. I get to help with that a lot for all of our sports that get flyovers, and it's getting even more interesting. I know like Sooner fans are more accustomed to having them every game, and we had some issues this past year. Like, people get deployed. Like, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now that are above our control.
Yes.
And there was one game where like the fog was really bad, and it happened to be the military game, and it didn't work out.
Yes. We
had two flyovers planned for that day, and both of them got canceled. And so it was just like, you know, there's things that you can't control. And so our fan base is going to have to be patient with the government because
Yeah.
they're undergoing some real life things right now. And so,
They are.
most schools only get one or two, and we're,
Mm-hmm.
blessed to be able to have so many people want to do it here, which is great.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I can't promise that it's going to be
Well,
every year going forward because they're cutting down a lot of stuff right now. There's been a lot
yeah.
of conversation.
Well, you can't control the weather and you
Nope,
can't control the government.
I can.
So, two strikes.
Yeah,
Two
I know.
strikes already.
But I'll get blamed for it. That's all right.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, that's totally out of your control for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of staying on football for a minute, a lot
Mhm.
of people right now are focused on the Crimson Combine
Mhm.
and the change with that from the spring game that we're all so familiar with. And
Right.
I mean, I always love the spring game. It's usually around my birthday. And so I look forward to that. Football is my first love. And so I like that little dose, like in between the
Mhm.
seasons and just again close to my birthday. And so I'm really intrigued at the changes this year. I mean, I totally understand, the
Yeah.
landscape of college football is never ending with change, and especially right now. But it sounds like a great opportunity for fans to come out and engage, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different. Obviously, something that was kind of presented to us from football of like, we're wanting to make a change, but we really want it to be about the fans. Like, what's a way that this can kind of work? And so, not only is it going to be kind of a combine for the players to kind of showcase their skills and still kind of do the things that you would normally see in a spring game, just in a little bit of a different format, maybe not
Right.
driving all the way down the field, but kind of doing half field drills, 2-minute drills, things like that, and however they want that to look, but also combine for kids to be able to participate and to get
That's
to
cool.
do some of that stuff on the field. And so a really more intimate look, I think, than we've ever really gotten to do with this
Yeah.
team. I think with Coach Arbuckle and Nagy and all these people coming in, like they really want to peel back the curtain, which I think is the best. Like for people who are in fan
Absolutely.
engagement, like yeah, let's do it. So I think it's really exciting that they've kind of come together to kind of do a way that people are still going to get to see, Mateer throw a football and all these
Yeah.
guys get to do the things that everyone wants them to see, but also get the one-on-one interactions and get to do some of these drills that they're watching them do on the field, with the same equipment and do the same thing. So it'll be really special, I think, when it all comes together to get to do
That's
that.
cool.
So it's different and obviously a work in progress, but I think it's just really cool that the team and the program really wanted it to be,
Yes.
still very fan engaging. Like we're
Yes.
gonna do this, we're gonna do it, and it be about the fans. Like we don't want
Yes.
people to come and watch us necessarily. Like we want to do it and do it with them so they feel a part of it.
That's awesome. I think that's a really great idea. And there were other programs that, I mean, as far as I know, they just canceled the spring game completely and they're not
Yeah.
doing anything else in place of it. And I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about the cancellation and the change and all that. I mean, I get it. And of course, everybody has different opinions, but I mean, of course, I'm sad to like miss a game, so to speak, but I'm excited for this new opportunity, like you said, for people to get engaged. And I've come the last several years that Brent Venables has done the ladies' clinics in the summer, and I love that. And so that's been like another opportunity for women to get into the locker room and the equipment room and all of that. And places that we normally don't get to go as fans or as women in general. And so there's been times, when they've offered like, hey, lay down on the weight bench and we'll help you,
Yeah.
or like go in the Everett Center and they're running routes and stuff. And I'm not really one that's going to jump out there and try to be some sort of athlete, but I love watching other people hop up and get involved in it, and it's just the engagement and other people getting involved who want to, and just the atmosphere of it. And so I think it's going to be great.
Because of where I'm at in my seasons with gymnastics and softball, I haven't been
Oh, yeah.
involved in so many of the conversations at this point. But from what I've heard, I think it'll be really special. I think we saw what went well and what fans really loved about like our SEC launch party on July 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Be on the field and getting to
Yes.
go with some of the players and the coaches and things like that. So kind of taking
Yes.
that vibe and what, the feedback that we got that was so great from that event, and then how can we tie that into football, that it's not like just Meet the Sooners Day that we've done, which is
Right.
great, but not the same event, but something that, everybody still feels like they got what they came for in a way.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. The more they talk about it, the more excited that I get. My dad will also be here for it, so I'm excited.
Oh, that's how cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's fun
neat.
when we get to share little OU weekends together. But
Absolutely.
I'm excited. I think it'll be cool. It's hard with a school that's so big on tradition to try new things and it be received well. It never is.
Yes.
There's the people that are excited for something different and for the access that comes with, trying something new, but there's always going to be, the I don't know, FOMO of like missing out
Yeah.
what you were used to. So it's always hard to try something new and next year it could look completely different. We'll take the
Yeah.
feedback that we get and what worked and what didn't and see what, it looks like going forward. But something that the program really wanted.
That's good. Well, like you said, it's not every day that a fan can go on the field and talk to players and do all of that, and the coaches even. And so to have an opportunity to do that, even though I've been able to meet players and coaches at the ladies clinics and stuff, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity for that. So $10, sign me up. So Bedlam softball is on my birthday.
Okay, all right, I'll be prepared. I'm
So
guessing, right?
I will be there. Yes.
Perfect.
And get this, I don't know if I've told you this part, but my husband is actually a poke. Yeah, so we have fun with it, but he's not quite as loud with his passion as I am, so it works. But yeah, he graduated from OSU, and so we're a house divided. We have a whole bedlam room and Christmas tree and all the things. Okay. So we're both very passionate about sports, but of course bedlam is anything bedlam we try to go. And so of course bedlam softball on my birthday, and I'm like, yes please. So I absolutely will be there, and we will have on opposing attire, but that's okay. We're also going to Stillwater for bedlam baseball. So yeah. I love gymnastics. I talked to Mark Williams this morning, and I love men's and women's gymnastics, and I'm real excited to see how they both do in the postseason going forward. And yeah, I'm ready. I've never gone to Fort Worth for the national championship and all of that with gymnastics because I'm torn with all the things going on at one time, which I can imagine for you is like insanity because
I got to go a couple years ago because softball was on the road. I didn't get to go last year. I think the plan this year would be to go to the semifinal on Thursday because then we play Mississippi State Friday.
Is that Mississippi State? Yes.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to try and swing it, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say that's a really wild schedule for you with that overlap.
Yeah, trying to do both. The last February and March is real tough for me because everybody
I
else's
bet.
schedules don't overlap too much in our office, but mine are like very much at the same times. It's been nice to have a couple days to just.
I bet. Yes. I get stressed sometimes just as a fan that's consuming everything because
what to go to.
yes. I mean, I live a little over an hour away from Norman, and I really wish I could go to more stuff. But yeah, it's hard because like, okay, I'm going to go to Norman. Let's try to, hit softball and then gymnastics and so on and so forth. But I pretty much just try. Of course, I have football season tickets, and my husband actually has season tickets in Stillwater. So we do a lot of divide and conquer during football season. I will go to Stillwater with him for just about anything, but the only thing, which currently now is not an issue, is bedlam football. I can't. I'm way too passionate, so that was kind of our deal from the get-go.
Oh, that's very brave. I don't know if I could do it. There's a couple, my dad said I could go to school anywhere I wanted, but if there was orange in the colors, I had to find a way to pay for it.
Oh, well, that sounds like something my dad would have said.
That was a good rule, but I feel like the same would apply for dating for me. I'm like, we have nothing in common now because sports is
I know.
So.
I know. It's really funny. My dad was a diehard Sooner fan. That's where I got it from. And anybody that has known my family for years said the same thing. They're like you could never marry a poke or whatever. My dad actually passed away before my husband and I got married, but he got to see me graduate from OU, and that was, one of his proudest moments. But it's funny. My husband is an amazing guy, and he's a lot like my dad.
And it's okay.
I know. I mean, he can't be perfect. So, but honestly,
it's just an orange flag.
Exactly. It's orange, all right. It's really funny because I would have never imagined that for myself, but we just have fun with it. And I've never even owned a piece of orange clothing. Like orange is not anything. And so I have, yeah, so I have our half and half shirt. That's the only orange thing I've ever owned in my life. And I only wore it for Bedlam football. And now who knows when I'll wear it again. But anyway, yeah, we just have fun with it. And it's funny. I'm thankful that he loves sports. I mean, he comes with me to Norman to just about anything and dresses neutral. He doesn't wear OU insignia, and I was just in Stillwater with him last weekend. I usually wear all black, and for multiple reasons. But I have a shirt that says "I'm married into this," and he has one also. So that's our typical attire when we're supporting each other.
She's an OSU girl too, and so we went to Bedlam basketball together at Paycom, and we were in our own little color.
Yes, yes.
But she's a big gymnastics fan too, because OSU doesn't have gymnastics.
Right? Yes.
She just wears white. Like she doesn't wear.
Okay.
She won't wear crimson, but she'll wear white or black. But she loves gymnastics. She has season tickets. She comes to everything. So we love.
I love it.
She's like, yeah, it's a pass. It's fine. They don't have that. Like I'm not gonna say like go Sooners, but like I'll cheer for Jordan. Like,
right.
I'll take it. And so yeah, she's the best.
That's really funny. We went to Bedlam softball there a couple of years ago. And it was really hard for me. It was almost as hard as football.
Yeah.
And we went 2 days.
I went to maybe 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess, because it was at home last year, so it would have been 2
Yeah.
years. It was tough. I think I just went to one game. I think I went to like the Friday night game, and I was just like,
It was tough.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I know. We were there Friday and Saturday. One day is good.
Yeah.
2 days was definitely pushing it. And they're a good team. Like, I don't mind watching them, outside of my own team. But, yeah, I'm not going to say I root for them because I don't. I enjoy watching them. They've got some great athletes. But, I don't root for the Orange. But I try to support my husband. And so that's kind of how I put it. Yeah. So I'm just supporting him. And I always wear my OU necklace and my OU ring. I always have it on, even in Stillwater. I mean, it may stick out with the black shirt. I don't care. I've always got it on. So gymnastics. Do they have any more regular season meets, or we're headed toward the postseason? Yeah.
It was the last.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Friday was their senior day. They had 5 home meets this year. Still went undefeated at home, which was great. They're on the road this weekend at Georgia.
Okay.
I believe if they win, they can clinch a share of the regular season.
Oh, nice.
That'll be cool.
Okay. That's awesome.
So need them to win this weekend.
Yes.
They have their SEC championship will be next Saturday, the 22nd.
Okay.
So they start. Postseason is here for them.
I'm like, okay, gymnastics on at this time and there's sometimes I've got multiple screens going because I've got to watch all the things. And
we grew up in my house with 3 TVs in our living room because obviously Kentucky
that's awesome.
Playing, Oklahoma's playing, Mississippi State's
playing,
so everything has to be on. People give my parents grief about it all the time, but like to the point where I have 2 TVs in my living room because that's what I grew up with. Like if they're gonna play at the same time, I got to be able to watch both at the same time.
Yes.
So yeah, no stranger to that. I always just get the gymnastics schedule first, and then I just wait, and then once I get the softball schedule, I figure out where all the conflicts are, and I'm like, all right, well, here we go. It was almost going to be bad twice, because the 21st of February, we were supposed to play that Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Moved to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so then I was in the clear. But it was
that worked out.
Too, and we ended up being able to do one day at a time. So
yes, oh my gosh, you definitely got
snow.
Yes, you got lucky that weekend, man. The grounds crew, holy smokes, they really.
And if you ever get to talk to them, they're the best people. Like
Aww.
Whitney, all of them. Her job is so unique, and she gets to work on all the different fields for OU. So
that's so cool.
Job that I don't think women get in. Like I'm the first female to run OU football, but like there's other women in my position. You know what I mean? Like she's probably one of the few that actually is like bomb. That's
really cool. I love that. But yeah, they did a phenomenal job, and they had to clean up 2 fields.
Yeah.
That weekend, and boy was it a mess.
And
I literally cannot imagine.
Yeah.
I bet they worked literally sun up to sundown for 2 or 3 days.
Basically. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but I know there was like heating blankets and heaters and like irrigation situations. I don't
Oh
know.
gosh.
They were amazing. I don't know how they did it.
I don't know either, but the before and after photos were just incredible. So yeah, props to them for
Yeah.
sure because my goodness.
Not every
So
hockey team have a place to play.
yeah, absolutely. We needed that. I well, it's a great slate going forward for softball for sure. I love softball. I've been so thankful over the last, handful of years how accessible softball has become with television and of course radio. I've always listened and just following on social media, and I'm thankful for it because there have been times that, life goes on and there's a lot of softball games. I'm in front of the TV or at the ballpark when I can be, but there's a lot of times when I've got an AirPod in and I'm, at a gala with my husband or whatever. And I mean, it happens, but I am always listening. Well, football season is like I plan everything around football. And I've learned the hard way one time not to travel during football season if it's not football related. And so we like to travel to NFL games. We went to Philadelphia this past November. We've been to Tampa Bay and all sorts of places. But we actually cruised one year. I don't remember what. I think it was like 2012-ish. But anyway, OU football played in a bowl game on New Year's Eve. And it was in and out reception, in the sports bar. And then none of the people I was with wanted to watch the game. So they're carrying on doing whatever, which is fine. I don't care. So I'm like, well, I'm going to the sports bar. But it was just a complicated mess. And I remember coming out of there and I told my husband, I'm never doing this again. No more New Year's cruises. It sounded like a great idea, but it was not.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I veer away from football season. So between September and January, basically, I'm like, no, I'm out on the vacations. We're just doing the football thing. But I just enjoy talking softball. I'm very impressed with our team this year. I mean, I feel like Patty just reloaded the gun and here we go.
I know. It's cool to see. I mean, like, I'm not around the team every day, but I'm around them a good bit. But I mean, obviously she has openly talked about like excited to get to coach again because she didn't really have to coach all that much with the last, group that was kind of just carrying the wave.
Yeah.
So it is fun to, nobody wants to see errors on the field, but it is fun to see them learn and grow and make the adjustments that they need to do day to day. And watching, Emmerling in the beginning of the season and then hit, home run after home run after home run. And same thing with Garcia. It's fun to get to see the growth because that's happening and like how much joy that's happening within them. So it is fun. It's fun to get to know them because, I mean, obviously, the last team and you got to see them for 4 years all the time. So it's getting to know a whole new group of people for me. Which is cool. They're super nice. They're super appreciative. So everyone should know that about them.
That's
I would
awesome.
do the same for gymnastics too. I think they're just the most humble and nice and like appreciative of like they want to know what's going on. Like how you're talking about, like you go to a game and everything just kind of happens and you don't really think about the people that are doing it to get there. Like these two teams that I work with are like, they want to know and they want to thank you, like to your face.
That's so cool.
That's just the best, and it makes like coming to work today like the best. And so just getting to know them. So this team has been really cool because they're new, right? Like they're new. They're trying to like, okay, what do you do here? Like, oh, so you're the one who does blah blah blah. Yes. So it's very cool for them to like get to know us and us to get to know them, and getting to know a new group of people is pretty cool because the athletes come and go and we're still here to serve them and we love what we do. But
right.
It's a lot more fun when you get to cheer for them as people and not just as someone on the field. So
that's so true. Yeah, there's lots of new names and faces, and I'm slowly learning who goes with what name and number even because we got used to Jada Coleman 24 in center field forever, it seemed like, and it's weird to see somebody else wearing those jersey numbers and getting used to their names and faces.
Tweeted the other day and was like, Tia Malloy reached out like campus like asking to wear that number. I was like, that's so cool. Like you don't think
that is so cool.
Like
that is so cool. I did see that. That was really touching to see. Well, and that means a lot, not only to Kenzie, but I mean, she did that number justice for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool for Tia. Like, I'm sure she feels like she has a lot to live up to, so to speak, coming into that. But she's an incredible athlete too. I have really enjoyed watching these players. And, I really like Nellie. There's just something about her that sticks out to me. And of course, Plank has mentioned on occasion how he will see her over there on the hot corner and say, that looks like Sid Romero. And I was like, it does. I mean, like, I've been watching for that long that I get it. I see what he's saying. But it's so cool because you see these kids and, like, they clearly have a passion and they're proud to wear that name on their chest, and you can tell. So that's really cool to hear you say that they're appreciative of not only that but just you and what you do and just everybody in general. Yeah. And same for the gymnastics girls. I've always, of course, Audrey Davis, I feel like, has been around for a while, and Jordan Bowers, of course, and I follow her on Instagram. I know, she's engaged and everything. And I feel like those girls have been around for a while, and it's hard to let go of those names, but then, like, Faith Torres, like, holy smokes, like, she's coming up, and I'm thinking she's going to be one of those names one day that we're like, oh, I'm sad to see that one go, and there's just so many players coming up behind the ones that are leaving that it's natural to miss them, but at the same time, like, look what's coming up. So, they're just,
we're around them all the time, but, we're fans of them too, as people and as athletes.
Yeah.
So, but you can't, you have to lose the Kinsey Hansons to get the Tia Malloys, and you're never going to.
That's so true.
One doesn't go, and to get the Faith Torres, you got to lose a Maggie Nichols, who.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, they all have to grow up and graduate, and school ends and things like that, and it's hard and it's sad, and then you're like, okay, well, who's the next group? And then you're like, oh my gosh, how did we ever operate without these people?
I know. It's so true.
Yeah, and I think that's just like, I don't know, you could say that for every sport. Men's gym's the same way. The fact that they can just reload like they do. And I speak, on those three sports because I'm around them all the time, but I think that's just the prowess of Oklahoma and just getting to come here. Like, I'm 16 hours away from my family, and I never thought I would leave, the beach and home in Florida and all the things. And I've lived out here for 7 years now, and it's like you want to, because you want to be a part of this. You want to work with coaching staffs that push you to be better every day. You want to work with women who lead their teams and their families like they do, and do it with the best mindset and with, others in mind, and wanting you to be better and be your best self, and getting to just surround yourself with people who are working to achieve greatness. Like, that's why I'm here.
Absolutely.
And so, that's why the athletes come here, but that's why the staff comes here. That's what we all signed up for, is to work with the best and to be the best.
That's awesome. Well, it's just crazy. It seems like everyone that I've talked to in whatever sport they're involved in, they all have so much to say about the coach and the staff for that sport. And like you said, that just says a lot for the university, because they have these coaches and staff that invest in these kids and develop them not only as players or athletes, but as human beings. And that really says a lot about the university and the coaches themselves and just the staff and everyone involved. And that's really what it's all about. They're just trying to help everybody else become better. And it's, of course, there's competition in sports, but as far as like, you don't feel like you're competing necessarily. Like somebody else, they're just trying to help you become better, and you're trying to help somebody else become better. And that's what it's all about. So I love KJ. I just think she is a phenomenal coach. I love watching her do the pep talk with the girls before their events and stuff. And like, she is something else. So I've heard nothing but good about her, and that everyone just respects and looks up to her. So I've just heard she's an amazing human being. And I love listening to her. I know she's on the radio sometimes with Plank. He'll call in. I think it was Monday she was on. Yep. He'll call in to her or whatever. And I just love hearing her. Her and Coach Jenny. I've met Coach Gasso before on multiple occasions, and she is obviously phenomenal. So no disregard to her. But Coach Jenny and KJ are two women that I would just love to someday visit with or meet or whatever, because I feel like they embody everything we just said. So
it's been When I was hired originally, it was for softball and soccer, and things shuffled
Oh,
around. Sports
okay.
shuffled around over the years, and promotions and all the things. And
Yeah.
somewhere along the way, I got plugged in with gymnastics. And the person that I am now is not the person who started working with gymnastics. And that's the impact of KJ Kindler. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
who she is as a person, not just as, like, I'm not even in the gym with them every day. I get pretty good one-on-one FaceTime with her each week, probably an hour or so, maybe two. We talk pretty often. She's pretty hands-on with, how she wants things promoted and what we're pushing out there and things like that. Every coach is. And what we've done in the 4 years together, taking the attendance average from 4,000-ish to 9,000-ish,
Yeah.
3 years of just me working with this program, is a testament to like who she's changed me into, and just how I approach my job and how I approach, what I do every day, and how, and it's just, she's just incredible in the way that she's able to motivate, but also get to know you as a person so she can motivate you
That's cool.
in such a great way. And, every leadership style is different, and how you have to lead others is different. And I think she really
Mm-hmm.
takes the time to kind of figure out what that looks like for you.
That's awesome.
But at the same time, like I said, to work with two female head coaches who have families, who lead with their family on their staff, who
Mm-hmm.
have, full-time jobs with sports that are number one in the country. Who doesn't want to be associated with those kinds of incredible women?
Absolutely.
And so being a woman in sports in my role is hard. There's been plenty of times where I was the only female on staff or the only person on my staff at one point in time. And a lot was on me to handle XYZ and all of this stuff. And, at no point did it ever cross my mind that I couldn't just call KJ and be like, I just need to talk to you about being a woman in this role. Like,
Yeah.
how do I keep pushing through this whenever, there's this boys club and this meeting happening that they're not letting you into that you're supposed to be in, and all of this. And to get that feedback from her is so special. And then on the flip side with Coach Gasso, like, so many of her support staff, like, is female. Our ticket ops
Uh-huh.
person, our event manager, me,
Yes.
like, so many of us are female on our staff that continue to get to set the standard of what college softball is. And I think that's important to her. Like, she wants us to feel like we are the women in sports setting the table for other women in sports. And it's really cool to get to be a part of that. And it's something that none of us take, for granted, that we all get to, they're the ones breaking the records and setting the home runs. And, Sooner Nation's the best in showing up and helping us break these attendance records and being able to build a stadium that we can fill
Yes.
with people. But, we all get to be a part of it as women, just seeing it grow, which is just a really cool thing to be a part of.
It really is. And you bringing up Love's Field, last year I came to the opener at Love's because I couldn't miss that. When I was at OU, Rita Hines opened during that time. And so I just remember that progression, and that move there. And now just being there to see Love's Field and how much the sport has grown and how much just the program at OU has grown, and the role that Patty Gasso has played in that. That woman is incredible. And, walking in that stadium and looking around for the first time last year is something to behold. And it's just amazing, like you said, the women and how they've propelled the sport, the program, and just what all that has meant to the university and to these girls. Mm-hmm. And I am so thankful that the class last year got to open Love's Field. Yeah. And I don't mean that in any rude way about any other former players. I would have loved to have seen Jossie hit a home run there or, Lauren Chamberlain or whatever, years ago. But that class will never be replicated. And to have them open that stadium for their final year, I mean, you couldn't have written the script any better, honestly. Yep. And so it looks incredible. The locker room and everything about it. It looks like an amazing facility, and it's really set the bar high for other softball teams and just softball in general. And I'm so glad that OU was able to be the ones to do that.
Yeah,
so
pretty cool. I get excited. You talk about the senior class, and I think back to, just in the years that I've had gymnastics and what it was like for those gymnasts to come in and compete in front of 4,000 people their freshman year. By the time they're leaving, they're having 9,000 consistently.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. And So for them to feel like they got, to build that alongside all of us,
Absolutely.
it's pretty great. And I can't wait to see where it continues to go, because no other team in that venue at this point is averaging those numbers, and they should.
No.
Women's basketball is incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wait for everyone to see them in March Madness next weekend.
Yes.
I'm hoping everybody will be able to come out for that. But they're insane.
They are insane.
They're very similar, like super involved in the community.
Yes.
And I know they do a good job kind of showcasing that. But man, are those girls? They are so good, and
That's awesome. Yeah, they are very fun to watch, and I went to a couple of games this season, and back to gymnastics. I've been coming to meets for years, and my niece, who's now 18, but when she was little bitty, like, we started taking her to meet, and it was just something that kind of stuck with us, and so we've been doing it a couple times a season for 15 years, and it is crazy to think, like, over that period of time, used to, you could get a ticket and pretty much go sit wherever you wanted. But I remember last year at the Michigan meet, well, we had been at Love's Field that day because it was opener.
Yep, I remember.
And yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, so my niece and I were over there for the opener. I think it was a doubleheader, if I remember correctly. But anyway, then we came over to the Michigan meet, and it was packed. I mean, we ended up having to sit like in the upper, because we just got general admission seats because I wasn't quite sure of the timing and everything. Yeah. And anyway, we sat up there, and we were up pretty high, which is not normally where we like to be. But it was packed in there, and I can't remember what the attendance was that night, but it was packed in the LNC. And for women's gymnastics meet, I was just like, this is amazing. I mean, just like I said, over the years that when I've been attending, and I don't come to every meet, but I usually do a couple a season. But yeah, it's just, I've seen it go from, just a few thousand to 9,000-10,000, and I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm just glad to be a Sooner. I feel like we're a trailblazer in so many ways.
Kind of in the same boat as me, right? Like when you're a woman helping to amplify women's sports as you are with this platform, as I am with my job, like, it's just kind of like emotional almost in a way, like to get to be a part of that.
It is.
Like I said, I don't think it's anything, we have a pretty female heavy support staff for a lot of our sports, and so it's pretty cool to get to be a part of that.
It is. And I see women on, a higher platform with even in the NFL and agents and all the things. And I love it. And even just seeing the viewership for the women's basketball tournament and just all the things, and the WNBA and what Caitlin Clark has done for that. And it's just incredible. Like, I'm happy. I'm happy for women in general, and I feel like there's so many women that have deserved this for so long, and I hate that they didn't get it, but I'm glad that we're finally as a whole getting there, and it's just progress in the right direction, and that's really all we can ask for. So thank you so much for taking a large portion of your afternoon to visit with me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
I hope you all enjoyed that awesome interview with Caitlin. She was amazing to visit with, and I truly appreciate her taking the time to come on the show with me this week. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor for this month, my friend Jeremy Ham at Ham Oil Company, for sponsoring the show. And for this week's Sooner Headlines, boy, do we have a lot to talk about between basketball, baseball, softball, gymnastics, lots going on in the land of Sooner sports. So it was just announced a few moments ago. I'm recording this Sunday evening, March 16th. It is 8:15 p.m. I had to wait until after the selection shows aired for March Madness. And our men, we did it. We made it for the first time in the Porter Moser era. We have made it into the tournament as a 9 seed in the West region. We will play UConn on Friday night, the 21st, with an 8:30 tip approximate Central Time. Of course, that could be adjusted, and to be honest, I know it's late, but it's a weekend, y'all, and I'm kind of hoping that it gets delayed a little bit because we got a busy Friday coming up in Sooner Country. Our softball team is playing at Missouri on Friday, but they have a 5 o'clock first pitch, and our baseball team has their home SEC opener against Mississippi State at 6:30 Friday night, and I will be in attendance at that. So I'm hoping to make it through the baseball game and listen to a little basketball on my way home from the baseball game. So I'm very excited that our men made it into the tournament. They had a good, solid performance the last couple of weeks and kind of redeemed themselves a little bit. They were really sitting on the outside of that bubble, and we were just kind of hoping to get in, and luckily some things just worked out our way, and here we are. We had a tough loss in the SEC tournament. I know we were hoping to make it another round through that, but we're into the March Madness tournament. We do get UConn. They are number 8 seed, so it will be a tough round 1 for us. If we do win round 1 on Friday night, we get Florida in round 2. So it will be an interesting tournament for sure for our men. Our women's basketball, also in the tournament, we will be hosting the first and second rounds in Norman next weekend. We got a 3 seed in the Spokane Regional. We will play in Norman on Saturday against the Florida Gulf Coast. And Coach B's alma mater, Iowa, is also coming to Norman next weekend, and we have a potential Bedlam matchup, the way the bracket has worked out in the Sweet 16, if we continue to win and make it to Spokane. So there's lots on the line coming up for our basketball teams, so I'm very excited. Congratulations to both of them for making it into the tournament. Our women's gymnastic on Friday night had a great win at Georgia, and we won a share of the regular season SEC title. That's our first SEC team title at the university, so Boomer Sooner, way to go, ladies. Our men's gymnastics finished their regular season strong yesterday out on the East Coast with 6 event titles, and now they are preparing both teams, looking forward to the postseason and moving forward with that. Baseball, on to the Diamond Sports. Our baseball had their first SEC road game this weekend out in South Carolina, and they won on Friday, lost on Saturday, came back today on Sunday for a rubber match, and they won in true Sooner Magic fashion. I did not get to watch that game, but they won the rubber match. They won the series. They have their SEC home opener on Friday night against Mississippi State at 6:30. I will be there. It's a busy day, like I mentioned, for Sooner Nation on Friday, but there's plenty of Sooner Magic to go around, so I hope that you all will join in some event on Friday night and cheering for the Sooners, and also on Saturday as our women's basketball will be hosting. And I want to throw in some kudos for the track and field athletes who we have a national champion. I don't want to butcher his name. I'm not going to try to say it, but we had our first national champion in track and field. He became our first NCAA triple jump title winner, and our women's team also posted the highest finish in program history at 4th, and the men's finished 12th, and that's their best finish since 2005. So shout out to Coach Thomas and the track and field crew for that. Okay, now on to softball. What a weekend in Fayetteville. Our girls we had a delay on Friday with the wind and weather, so they played a doubleheader on Saturday. They won both of those games, very good games. Came back for game 3 today. It was an interesting game. Again, I didn't get to intently watch this one. I was watching and listening while eating and doing some other things today. But what a game that was. And if you didn't get to watch it, I encourage you to go back on social media. There's highlights from the game on Twitter, Instagram. Gabby Garcia, y'all, she has continually had home runs all weekend, all season long. She's a freshman, y'all. A freshman. Her and Nellie McEnroe Marinas, Nellie's our captain. They are phenomenal. Super talented players, and to think that we have 4 years with them is just incredible. Patty does not lose a team, she just reloads. That's just all there is to it. She doesn't lose a roster. She is just completely reloaded. It's different names, it's different faces, it's the same thing. As I talked with Amber Flores on the episode that dropped last week, she talked about how Patty knows how to get teams prepared. She knows how to get them ready to compete and to work hard and to put in the work, put in the effort. And boy, is that not evident as we sit as 26 and up, undefeated, should be number 1 in the nation of coming out of that sweep in Fayetteville. Again, Gabby Garcia, Captain Nellie, Sam freaking Landry, y'all, coming out and literally saving the day. She started on game 1, I believe, if I remember correctly. She came out of the pen game 2 and game 3 and saved the day. Those Arkansas hitters are good, of course, because they're coached by the other Gasso, so of course they're good. But that team is incredible, y'all, and I know they were ranked 12 or 13, but a SEC team on the road, a packed house, you guys, a packed house in Fayetteville this weekend for every game. It was Some Sooner fans were there. There were quite a few Sooner fans, but it was a packed house and it was loud. They were calling those hogs all weekend long, and what an environment for those girls to come in. And like I said, Sam freaking Landry to come in, and she came out of the pen today. She threw 5 straight balls, walked a batter, and then she was just spitting nails after that. Got the job done, got the outs, and what an incredible win today in Fayetteville as we swept the series against Arkansas. So here are some stats on our softball team, current, up to date for this season, courtesy of Seth Olivares on Twitter. At the numbers through week 6, Oklahoma softball. 26-0, 6-0 versus top 25 teams, 13 run rule wins, 228 runs scored, 57 runs allowed, 222 hits, 182 walks, 9 shutouts, 13 errors, 171 Ks through 165 innings, and a 29-game win streak. If you get a chance to get out to the ballpark and see our softball team, I highly encourage you to do it. I know through the university, all you can get are standing room only tickets, but I have heard totallytickets.com has tickets available if you want a seat, and part of the proceeds from the sale of those tickets goes to NIL for the softball girls. So that's something to keep in mind if you're wanting to get softball tickets. So I'm going to end the show today with this week's Sooner Fun Fact. By qualifying for the NCAA Division I tournament in 2023, the Oklahoma men's golf team played postseason golf for the 12th consecutive season and advanced to the NCAA championship round in each one of those years. At the time, it was the second longest active streak in the nation. And this week's Fun Fact of the Week is brought to you by Ham Oil Company. So I want to thank you guys all so much for your overwhelming support. Again, I know I say this a lot, but I truly cannot thank you all enough. To those of you who have purchased merch, whether you've sent me a picture or not, but if you haven't, I'd love to have one. But for those who have purchased merch, we have sweatshirts, hoodies, tees, 3/4 length tees, tank tops new for the summer. I've got stickers, hats. I appreciate those who have purchased those things and are continuing to support the podcast by listening, downloading, subscribing, sharing with all of your friends. If you follow me on all social media, inviting your friends and helping me spread the word, that is truly the best thing that you can do to help me. You can find me on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Lemon8, TikTok, YouTube, Substack. Come find me. Come give me a follow, a share, and a listen. I will post my link. It's in all of my bios across all social media. My link tree, it will be in the show notes, and you can follow that link to get more information on my social media and my podcast apps and how to purchase merch. Please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and please leave me a good review and 5 stars. Substack is a free option for those of you who don't want to miss anything about the show. You can go and subscribe with your email and have each episode each week and other major announcements sent straight to your inbox for free. You can also pay $5 monthly to join the locker room. And if you want to join our huddle in the locker room, you can find more information again on my link tree. We have a private chat on the Substack app, a private group on Instagram. I do giveaways. You get a discount on your merch purchase. We do monthly online meetups. We will be doing an in-person meetup soon. I do lots of giveaways. It's lots of fun in the locker room, so I hope that you come and join me. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for listening this week to episode 10 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. I would not have made it this far without you. Please like, follow, subscribe, share with a friend across all social media and all your podcast platforms. And I cannot wait to see you guys again next Wednesday. I have another fantastic interview. I've got a great slate lined up. If you haven't started tuning in, now's a great time to get caught up, a great time to join in. You're not going to want to miss the slate for the rest of the spring and summer, because the names just keep getting better. And if you have a business or you know someone who might be interested in advertising, please message me on social media or shoot me an email to soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. Thanks, you guys. Have a great week. Cheer like a champion. Boomer Sooner. I'll see you next Wednesday where we talk sports.